Now we will install MySQL on Windows. The first thing I will do is type add remove program and remove any pre-existing installation of MySQL. So when I look at this, I find bunch of MySQL components which are installed on my machine. So I will uninstall them one by one. If you don't see any of these components, then don't worry. You don't have to do anything. After I uninstall everything, when I type MySQL, nothing is showing up. Once again, if you don't have this, don't worry. I will now go to my dear friend Google and say, how do I download MySQL on my machine? You will click on the first link, scroll down MySQL community downloads, scroll down MySQL installer for Windows, and I'm going to download this particular big file, 431 megabyte. So when you click on it, it will start downloading. You can say, no thanks, just start my download. Okay. And it's gonna take some time. So make sure you wait till it is downloaded. So the file is downloaded here. You can just double click to start installation. Yes. Now here, see, you can select default installation, but that will require you to install Microsoft Visual Studio and all kind of components. It can get confusing for some people. Therefore, I will use custom. You will say next, and you will install the server, okay, MySQL server. So by clicking on green arrow, you can move it to the product to be installed. In the application, you will use MySQL Workbench, which is an interface where you can run MySQL queries. I don't need Visual Studio. MySQL shell can be useful. Even if you don't install it, I think it's okay. You don't need router, at least for this course. Then in the connector, you need only .NET connector, okay? And this is required if you're using BI tools such as Power BI. If you're not going to use Power BI, I think you can skip that as well. You don't need to install other connectors. And in the documentation, I will just install all the samples and the documentation. So these are the components that you're going to install. Click next. See here in my case, I had some old files which exists, but if you don't have old files, you will not see this message. Just say next, execute, and it will start installing these components one by one. After waiting for a few minutes, all the components are installed. I will just click next, next, and it is configuring the development computer, the local computer with this port. Say next, next. And in the root password, you can just say root. So root ROOT. So I'm keeping my root user, which is the main user of this MySQL installation, to be root. Next, 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 execute. Finish, next. And here you can root, right? That was the password. If you gave a different password, then give that. Check connection successful, execute, finish, next, finish. So now see, it launched something called MySQL Workbench. So here we'll be writing the SQL queries, exploring database, importing database, all kind of things. And now we are done with the installation part.